People in this country are dying in poverty, but the growing demand for state-funded funerals is a worrying sign of a deepening crisis. Once known as paupers' funerals, public health funerals are rising at an unsustainable rate, and researchers are linking the trend to growing deprivation among the elderly. Faith leaders say it's a call to uphold dignity and compassion for all, even in death. Let's speak to Evie King, former stand-up comedian turned council funeral arranger and author of Ashes to Admin. Evie, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
No, thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, what are the circumstances where a council funeral arranger might be called in?
Pretty broad. Basically, the act we work under is Section 46 of the Public Health Act, which says where a funeral is not likely to be arranged, we have a duty to arrange one. And those situations can be vary from a estrangement from your family, living a solitary life, whether that's by choice or by force. It can be outliving everyone you ever knew. It can be becoming unidentified and therefore just found dead and unable to be reunited with your family. Displaced, so we've dealt with asylum seekers who died across borders. And ultimately the biggest one of all, no money, which is the one that's on the rise and why we're talking today.
Absolutely. We'll come to the cost of funerals in a moment, but I guess for you, this is kind of like detective work in a way, isn't it? So how do you go about starting to find if a deceased has family or indeed money?
We are usually given entry to their house by either the police, who will have taken the keys after entering through a window or breaking a door, to do a welfare check, or we will be allowed in by our own housing stock, because it's the district where you die that the council does the funeral. So if someone's died in one of our houses, we go in with them or a housing association. And then once we're in the house, we've got three duties really. We've got the public health duty of clearing up the perishable food, because you will have maybe left the leftovers of your last dinner on the side, and you've got your milk in the fridge, and so we clear all of that stuff so there's no pests, take the bin out. And then really we're looking for the admin in my book title. So your will, which will allow us to get a hint of your wishes and hopefully a contact in the form of an executor, and obviously help us hand over the estate, because that's difficult when there's no will. And also we're looking for, if there's evidence of, if there's no will, evidence of wishes for dispositions. So you might have a funeral plan, or if not a funeral plan, there might be evidence that you once cremated a relative. And so it shows that you might not be averse. And it also helps me, for instance, one person, I dug back into her past and found out from her ex-landlord that she cremated her husband in Eastbourne and that he'd been scattered at a certain place. So we did the same for her. Or also, if we can't find any of that, we're looking for extra clues, evidence of a religion. So something that would tell us you wouldn't want to be buried, or you would need to be buried. And then once we've done that kind of thing, it's the basic admin, bank statements, electricity. We need to inform everyone. We need to freeze stuff and get it sort of packed down. And we're looking for you as well. So if we're going to end up doing the funeral, we're looking at your music. We're looking at the book you're reading. We're trying to get a flavour of you. And we're knocking on the neighbours' doors. We're trying to get last numbers dialed on the house phone or an address book. So yeah, it's a lot of detective work. It's a lot of piecing people together. But they come alive very quickly. It's amazing how quickly a life crystallises when you ask a few questions or look around someone's house.
I find it really touching in a way, the fact that you were just there, because, these people that don't have anyone, I guess people are like, well, what does happen? But the fact that you're trying to find out and give them kind of some dignity and have that last moment, that's really touching for me. I think that's such a lovely thing to do. It must be.
A lot of people say that, and I think it gives a lot of people comfort when they hear about this job, because that's all of our 3 a.m. fears, isn't it? Will I die on my own? It's seen as some sort of failure of self, but it's not. It's happenstance, it's circumstance. Your children might predecease you. Your partner might become struck by dementia or something. So there's all sorts of things that would put you in a position where someone who usually would do your funeral is just not there to do it, and that's logistics. But no one's ever really alone. Like, we find friends, club members, hairdressers, carers, and people have a lot more connections than they think they know.
I saw that something that you had said before about, we're all kind of one or two bereavements and life events from dying alone. Like, no one plans for it, do they? But it's just, the way of life and things that happen could leave someone in that situation. So let's talk about the council and money here, because well, I could talk all day about the cost of funerals, and from my own experience of my dad passing away without a will, they're expensive. So this must be costing the council quite a lot of money at the end of the day as well.
And it's a terrible thing to say, but because we buy in bulk, as it were, we're a guaranteed client, we have the buying power to say to a local funeral director, give us a contract, give us a rate. So thankfully, we have a reduced rate in terms of what we spend. And so most of our funerals will come in under or just over £2,000, which is half the price of everyone else's, unless you're looking at an online direct cremation, which can be as low as £1,250, but they're not really suitable for everyone because they cut out the service, and the service is a huge part of why we have a funeral. There has to obviously be a person's body dealt with, and that's dealt with by the direct cremation, but there's a ritual that may be missing there unless people have planned something separate. But yes, we have reasonably good rates for ourselves, and we have to legally try and recoup what we can from an estate. So where there's someone who's got money but no one to enact, we will be able to usually get 100% back of what we spent. But obviously where there is no money, where that's the reason that someone with us, we don't recoup. So I've spent £102,000 on funerals since 2017, and I've recouped 86,000, which is pretty good. But it was a lot better last year. This year, it's really started ramping up. The amount of zeros in my amount claimed column are going up. So it's not something we can control if that's the cause and the reason.
And within this research, do we know roughly how many public health funerals there were? I think I saw a figure for 22-23. Do you know what that one was?
At the last count, I heard we're doing 12 funerals a day as councils at the cost of £6 million a year, which is pretty huge and not particularly sustainable because council budgets have been slashed since 2010 when the support grant was withdrawn. We had 50% less budget, and then we have to make 10% extra cuts year on year. And eventually 10% of nothing is quite hard to find. So we need to support people more than ever, but we ourselves are not financially solid to support people. Birmingham City Council have gone bankrupt, and I know they spend about £1 million a year on public health funerals. So, they need to be robust to be able to help people. So we ourselves need to be better funded or supported, or the system itself needs to be looked at again.
Let's talk about you, because you've had quite a, well, it's not been a straight route into this job. And I don't think it's even a job that you really applied for. Was it? How did you come to be doing the work that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I always worked in the civil service, public sector. I had a brief foray out of it for a short time, but I was 90% in the public sector my whole life. Always did writing in the margins and stand-up in my 20s. And then when I just had enough of London and I had a particularly bad job, boss, commute and home life combined, I just threw it all in and went to the seaside. Just stopped when I got to the water. Nowhere to live, no job yet. But I stayed at my parents' in their spare room. And the only show in town was the small district council. And because I'd been in the public sector, I had that experience. I was briefly doing environmental health admin support before I was roped in to help write the guidance for Section 46 funerals, because they're very auditable. There's a lot of money in people's houses. You'll open a knicker drawer and there'll be 10 grand there. The people keep money in their houses, they keep valuables. So you have to be very trustworthy and have to have a system. So I did that, and then my boss said, would you like to practice the procedure in real life? And we ended up in my first house search, and eventually I was given the lead. But like you say, you don't apply for it. It's just a general environmental health duty. And it's shocking, really, because it's such a vocation that you really should be writing a personal statement and saying why you want to do it. Because it's not for everyone and it's not for the faint-hearted. I was in a house yesterday that was 90% blue bottles trying to find someone's will. So it's not everyone's cup of tea.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, it's gone full circle for you because you've got your book now, Ashes to Admin, and writing something you've always done. And that's about your first year in the job.
Yeah.
And I understand there's a bit of comedy in there as well.
And it has to be. Everyone who works in death has to keep some sort of levity, because otherwise, you can't do the job. You'd be too down yourself. And after a while, you sort of can see that life and death are one and the same. We treat the dead as if they were living. We even address them. The funeral director will talk to them when they're dressing them. I will be walking around their house going, Alan, what's this? So you kind of don't regard them as like this. We treat the dead very, with all very hushed tones and far too over respectful in a way. In a weird way, we change them from a person to this concept, and so we keep it very real, and we treat people as though they're still people. We know from our services that there were flaws and there were issues, and we have to deal with that when we're doing a service and there were children there who were estranged or there was a problem. My celebrant has to address it. He can't just stand there and say all of the usual PR that you get at funerals. He has to say there were issues. So we're very honest, and we keep it light, and we try and keep life very much in the forefront, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find their life and the people from their life. So it's all very life focused.
Like I said earlier, I find it quite comforting that you're there to help these people. And if people want to find out more about you, they want to buy your book, where's the best place for them to go?
Oh, well, have a Google of Ashes to Admin, it will come up. But I'm on Instagram as Evie King Writes, so you'll find me there. And there's a link in my bio where you can find everything else
And I
do and get up to.
I understand a second book's on the way as well. What's that one going to be about?
This one is really the practical. I've learned so much and I've seen so much, and now I'm putting it into lessons. So each section or chapter is a lesson, which is a story from my job. And then at the end, there's an exercise for each thing. So wills, wishes, death planning, care, advanced care, death cleaning, digital death, everything you haven't really thought about probably, and you can put it in one place, write it all down, and then keep it with all your important documents, because that's what I'm desperate for people to do. I'm walking around these houses putting together a puzzle with missing pieces, and in my kitchen cupboard I've got a notebook that says, if you're reading this, I'm dead, because we don't get to say that very often, and it's quite fun. And it's just got a list of all my accounts, everything I have, everything I've signed up to, phone numbers you need to call, where my car's parked, because that's not always obvious, everything that would sort of evaporate upon you leaving, but no one could ask you. And just have it in one place so that your next of kin or whoever's behind you or me can just reach everyone they need to reach, close everything down, get everything done for you as best we can.
It's such important conversations to have. I'm really looking forward to seeing that second book as well. Evie, thank you so much for your time today. Really, really appreciate it.
Always.
Thank you.
Absolutely fascinated by Evie's job. Yeah, I'm going to talk more about it in a moment. After Take That, back for good.